To jump it up in midcourt, you see your matchups. A bigger North Carolina State team, but a much quicker Ron Bishop East Tennessee State team.
East Tennessee State's got to be concerned about the boards, Randy, and of course North Carolina State has got to guard the perimeter against the Buccaneers.
The Wolfpack controls. Corgiani across the timeline against Keith, Mr. Jennings. And you're looking at a matchup between two of the top point guards in America. Rodney Monroe misses. Quickly, Calvin Talford missed it. Rebound, NC State.
It's going to be a track meet.
Corgiani gives NC State the first lead of the ball game.
Randy, when you look at the points, East Tennessee State scores 92 points a game, while North Carolina State 111. It's going to be a track meet.
Something else that could wear on this NC State team is they only have 8 scholarship players. They will only play about 8 players tonight. That could hurt them.
North Carolina State opening up in a zone, and of course East Tennessee State, a good perimeter shooting team. It'll be interesting to see how long they stay with the zone. I think that's a pretty good move because they have Gugliano at the point in that zone.
They've also extended it out past the three-point line because they know how well East Tennessee shoots from out there. Gear misses. Long rebound to Monroe. NC State with the ball. Monroe pulls up and hits 4-0 NC State.
That zone tends to slow down the offense of East Tennessee State also, but I'm going to tell you, Rodney Monroe might be one of the sweetest players in America as far as perimeter shooting in this country tonight.
4-0. North Carolina State with a lead over East Tennessee. We are a minute and a half into this basketball game, and a record crowd on hand in Johnson City. Gear open again. Bangs around and drops in. Transition bucket, a steal by Story. They took it away from Gugliano. Gear again, yes!
Well, that's what they want to do, Randy. They want to get the steal and then the transition bucket. East Tennessee State has got to play at a really fast pace, and the zone tends to slow them down. But that's the kind of game they want to get into.
A 6-4 Buccaneer lead on a couple of threes by Gear, and the game is tied by NC State. Jennings in the lane, too hard. Rebound to Kevin Thompson. NC State clears it quickly. Monroe, Beggins in the lane. Beggins turnaround, yes. And NC State is back on top.
It's going to be swapping leads. This is going to be a great one.
I'm out of breath, and I'm not playing. Talford, too hard. Darrell Jones, inside, short. Darrell Jones gets it back to Jennings. They'll reset it. Lobbing it to Jones again. This time he missed it. Got his own rebound and followed. A good job by the sophomore, Darrell Jones.
He got 3 offensive rebounds on that trip.
Corgiani to Thompson for the 2.
We'll score quickly.
Are we in the NBA or are we in the NCAA? That's what I'm asking.
Well, another thing, too, to not only find shooting teams, but you got to remember, these are 2 of the finest point guards in America. And they're both in the top 20 NCAA all-time assists.
Talford for 2. Too hard. Rebound, Beggins. When East Tennessee does miss, the Wolfpack gives them only 1 shot. A steal, but first the foul by Keith Jennings, and we have the game's first personal foul.
I think maybe North Carolina State's statistic offensive, 111 points, a little deceptive, Randy, because you're going to see Corgiani do a good job. Penetration, going to draw the foul. I don't know. I didn't see that one, but East Tennessee State has definitely not played the schedule that North Carolina State has not played the schedule that the Buccaneers have played at this point in the season.
First foul on Jennings. That could be critical because East Tennessee is certainly not the same team when he's not on the floor.
Well, he got 2 fouls in the first 5 minutes against Cincinnati and didn't have a foul the rest of the game.
Gugliana muscled it up over Rodney English, who's in the ball game now. And English at 6'4" couldn't block the dunk.
Tell you what Keith Jennings will do. He'll pick up a foul early, but he's smart enough to be able to stay on the court without getting in foul trouble. Although, against Arizona, he did get in foul trouble.
Rodney English on a nice assist from Keith Jennings. 12-10 ball game. Corciani spinning away over Jennings and hits. Corciani with 4, and it's a 4-point Wolfpack lead.
Nice pass.
They went for the lob to Story. It goes out of bounds, and we're going to take a timeout. Time on the floor, 15:32 to go in the first half. NC State with a 4-point lead over the Buccaneers, and we'll be right back.
Over 30,000 businesses are already using Instantly to scale their outreach with unlimited sending and features to stay out of the spam folder so you can get.
Gugliotta made a moment ago. Watch him go to the hole.
We can see not a lot of help there, Randy, as Gugliotta takes the ball to the bucket. He just jams it right over East Tennessee State.
Rodney English went up with him, but Gugliotta, standing at about 6'9", 230 pounds, very strong physically.
And also very mobile. He took that ball to the hole with a lot of authority, put the ball on the floor very well.
NC State on defense now. East Tennessee down 4, 15:28 to go first half.
Little man-to-man out of the timeout. Switching from the zone that they started the first 5 minutes with.
Major gear outside. Nobody over 6'4" in the lineup now for East Tennessee State. And when that happens, you don't need anybody over 6'4". Calvin Talford, the back door.
That was a great look. Calvin Talford said, "Hey, mister, watch this." It's a mismatch when Calvin Talford is guarding by someone his own size on the floor.
Tremendous athlete, Calvin Talford. 2-point game. Gugliotta in the corner for 3, missed it. Thompson over English for the rebound. Beggins, goaltending, it will count. No basket.
That's a very good call because the ball never got off the rim. You're going to see the shot, and watch, Randy, the ball never gets off the rim on tip. It almost got an over and back foul right there. Good jump, little jump fake, and he goes up. The ball never leaves the rim. That's a good call by the official.
East Tennessee looking to tie. Jennings for 3. No. Rodney Monroe with a long rebound. Here comes the Wolfpack. Corciani lobbing it, tapped away by Talford, off the hands of Bryant Beggins.
You got to remember, when they're posted up in there, Calvin Talford's only 6'4", but he was a 7-foot high school high jumper. He could really get off the floor.
He got off the floor for another slam, but he traveled before he did that. So the floor mistake gives it back to NC State with 14:10 to go in the first half.
You see what East Tennessee State is having to contend with. North Carolina State is trying to isolate in the lane and try to get those mismatched with the shorter men.
Corciani with 6, and it's a 16-12 NC State lead. Tremendous competitor, Chris Corciani.
That's a travel. He got away with that travel.
Rodney English, Marty Story penetrates, blocked, taken away by the taller NC State team. Corciani with the ball, spinning,
nice
dishing
pass.
a foul, and it's on Keith Jennings, his second.
Corciani, really an innovator. He does a lot of great things in transition and open court. That time he did a good little spin move. Watch this block right now. Marty Story doesn't have the height advantage. And, of course, Corciani's going to take on the break. Got a new player in the lineup for East Tennessee State. That's Alvin West, who, Randy, was the player of the game against Cincinnati for the Buccaneers.
14-point a game average. Did not start tonight, but sees a lot of playing time. A great shooter. A miss on the free throw by Gugliotta, his first.
Alvin West is another one of those players. He doesn't start, but he averages in double figures, and he comes off the bench. A lot of coaches like to have good athletes coming off the bench.
The miss. Gugliotta missed 2. In fact, Gugliotta hits only 47% from the free throw line, but look what he did from the outside. A 3. Rodney English over NC State for 2.
Very interesting that East Tennessee State plays with no one on the floor over 6'4". Hey, I think they could win that World Basketball League 6'4" and under title. They did this against Cincinnati. That's a charge.
Corciani picks up the charge. Calvin Talford set himself properly and picked it up for East Tennessee.
Well, this time you're going to have a little penetration here, and Calvin Talford steps right in there. He is set, and that's a charge.
Under 13 minutes to go. East Tennessee down by 5. A moment ago, it was 7. Jennings to Talford. Alvin West. Jennings pulls out. Jumper short.
It's not a very smart foul by Kevin Thompson, because that's the man that you want to take that 15-footer, and he fouls him on the jump shot. And I know Les Robinson, look at this.
Trezell Silver's the shooter.
You got the man shooting you want to, and Les Robinson sitting over there said, why are we fouling him on a jump shot?
Trezell Silvers is a freshman from Clinch, Virginia, 4.4 points per ball game. Good-looking prospect. He misses the first free throw. He's a 6'7" freshman.
It's going to be interesting to see how long East Tennessee State stays in the man, because, you know, the isolation of North Carolina State. They ran a very effective zone against Cincinnati, Randy, but I tell you, the thoughts that might be going through Allen McCourt's mind is Rodney Monroe.
Free throw lane violation gives East Tennessee State the ball. Corciani got in the lane too quickly. So the Bucks get the ball back. 19-14, West faking, shooting, no good. Corciani with a long rebound. NC State by 5. West went for the steal. Monroe missed the 3. Kept alive inside, taken away by East Tennessee's Mr. Jennings at 5'7". Here's the mister.
Nice.
This is Talford for the layup. Fagans gets 2 on the other end.
Here's your track meet.
A transition game, folks. Textbook. The guy that masterminded all this is on one end of the floor. It's Les Robinson. Trezell Silvers with the ball, the freshman at 6'7". Gives it to Talford, who pulls up and hits. Calvin Talford plays with as much confidence as any player I know. When he's hot, he knows it.
Oh, he's a great athlete on top of that. The high jumper we already mentioned. Great baseball player, Randy. He can knock it out of the stadium. And he also ran track. He's just a great all-around athlete.
Gugliano for 3, missed it. Talford in the sky for the rebound. 11:14 to go. East Tennessee can tie with a 3. Talford all the way. It would have counted had it gone in, but he's fouled by Fagans. And Talford will get 2 shots.
Tell you something else. The pace of this game is going to mean, as you see Calvin, good fake there. Gugliano's up. Nobody really challenged him. Gugliano had to come from the rear to challenge the shot, or he gets a jam. Randy, the pace of this game is going to mean that a lot of people are going to see some action tonight.
East Tennessee State, as we look at the foul, has the people. NC State does not. In fact, before the season started, Les Robinson had a walk-on tryout. He had about 80 kids who tried out, and 3 made it. Paul Campion, Tim Thompson, and Chris Ritter for NC State. He needed some bodies. Of course, they were under NCAA probation because of the all the mess down there. We won't go into any details.
That's a pretty good word.
Mess, exactly. 11:07 to go. It's a 2-point NC State lead. And we'll be right back to Johnson City, Tennessee in just a moment.
Remember life before chronic depression tore your family.
Chris Corciani have a shot at the all-time NCAA assist record, and here's one reason why. Watch Mr. work.
Well, he just takes his man right to the hole. Gugliano comes, tries for the block. He dishes off to Calvin Talford. If I'm a Calvin Talford or Rodney Monroe, you got to like playing for somebody like Mr. Jennings and Chris Corciani. You know you're going to get the ball.
11:07 to go. NC State with a ball and a 2-point lead at 21-19. Corciani against Alvin West.
Mr. Jennings against Bacali. He gives up almost a foot in height disadvantage. That's an interesting matchup. Might see some posting up underneath.
Crowd thinks Monroe walked. Officials said he didn't. Corciani working off the pick. Here's Monroe. Boy, Talbert's all over Monroe.
That's one thing about Allen. Of course, they did a great job this year in emphasizing defense.
Talbert with 10 points. Calvin Talbert ties the game after the steal by Alvin West.
That's the second bucket off of a steal, but you talk about there, look at the lob. Randy, you talk about East Tennessee State scoring ability. Nobody talks about their defense. They're holding opponents to 75 a game.
Alvin West with an air ball on a three-point attempt. NC State, great feed. Monroe to Bacali. Here's Monroe getting it back. Missing. Gugliotta, yes. You're 6'9", going up over Mr. Jennings at 5'7", you're going to get the offensive rebound.
Well, he's playing a point in his own defense. He's really very mobile. He's got good hands. I can definitely see a Gugliotta playing in the NBA. Very impressive player in the first half.
9:39 to go. East Tennessee State down 2. They've got the ball. Jennings off the pick by Pelfrey.
Pelfrey came in the game against Cincinnati, hit 3 3-pointers in the first half. Did a great job for LaForce off the bench.
Here's one right here. Got it! Jerry Pelfrey.
He must have been listening. We also had him a few weeks ago, his brother John, who plays for the University of Kentucky Wildcats.
The answer by NC State's Bacali. Wolfpack back out by a point again. Pelfrey faking. Dishes back to Jennings. Talford turnaround. Yes. Talford has a hot hand and he knows it.
Both teams shooting very well from the floor, but again, the defense. Allen, of course, says, hey, defense might not win games, but it'll keep you in it until your offense catches up.
Bacali for 3. Yes. Ujin Bacali for NC State, the freshman from Belmont, North Carolina.
A lot of coaches say you can't win without a good defense, but you know, got a good offense like East Tennessee State, you emphasize defense, you've got the pretty good balance that you need to win.
Pelfrey for 3. Oh, look at that follow by Rodney English at 6'4", getting up.
That looked like the kind of play that NC State won a national championship against Houston.
Sidney Lowe or Wittenberg? Who shot the ball? Little NC State trivia. Monroe answers. I believe it was Wittenberg, and Lorenzo Charles got the stuff. I remember that much. Jumper by English, who's hit 2 in a row.
Randy, right now, East Tennessee State is blistering the nets. They're scoring on almost every trip. And, you know, NC State has got to be concerned about swapping buckets on the road with the Buccaneers.
There's the foul by Alvin West. It's only his first. The game has had relatively few fouls. Keith Jennings, though, has 2. He has not sat down, though. He's still in the game.
He did the same thing against Cincinnati, and he played the rest of the game without a foul. He's a very smart player, and he knows he has to be on the floor.
We're going to take a timeout. Time on the floor, 7:33 to go. We're exactly at the point we were when we started. All time.
A lot of stick has been
Board, but it worked for 2.
Pelfrey's asking for an assist on this, but look here. Hey, you know what, Randy? Rodney English has said, I got a rebound and a putback.
Field goal percentages, NC State 76%, East Tennessee not bad at 62. Gugliotta fouled by Talbot. And Gugliotta will get 2 for NC State. That's the first foul on Calvin Talbot and number 4 on East Tennessee this half.
Gotta like Gugliotta. Boy, he did a great job. Knew he was going to get fouled. He just jumped right into the player. But you know what? That was also a smart player, Calvin Talbot, to get that foul and not let him score underneath the bucket uncontested. The mister takes a seat. That doesn't happen very often.
Probably just needs a breath of fresh air.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to get fresh air in this building with all these bodies in here.
Gugliotta is atrocious at the free throw line. He has 53% of his three-point shots, 64% of his field goals, but only 47% from the free throw line.
You know what I say to that? That's all mental. That's all mental, Randy. I believe you could step up there and hit 50%. Matter of fact, I know you can because you did it against me before.
East Tennessee down by 1. NC State takes the lead back on a free throw by Gugliotta. Almost a steal by Corciani. Major gear to Pelfrey. Pelfrey has it stripped. Gugliotta with the ball. NC State up the floor quickly. Bacali out of bounds. Stepped on the out of bounds line before he shot the three.
That's pretty good skip pass across court. Monroe was able to spot Bacali, but you know, we talk about Jennings and we also talk about Corciani being such great offensive players to get their assists. They're also, Randy, very fine defensive players. You'll see them come up with a lot of steals.
Pelfrey. Talford got the bucket. On the baseline drive, the assist from Pelfrey. The Bucks have the lead back. A whistle and a foul. It will be against Major Gear. Team foul number 5 coming up on East Tennessee State.
Duke Edsel said if they keep shooting like this, we're going to be the happiest people in the world because every time we blow our whistles, you know, we kind of mess things up. But not many fouls in the first half of the game.
Corciani penetrates off the left hand. It's short. Major Gear gets the rebound.
They got the numbers.
Pelfrey on a 4-on-3 advantage. Talford, yes. Calvin Talford is having some kind of game for East Tennessee. Shot no good. Beggins got the rebound. Shoving foul against Bryant Beggins of NC State.
On the previous trip down, what happened? Well, you're going to see the foul right here. Look at the shot. I'm sorry, no foul until after the rebound, but the push-off. Didn't really see that myself, but Pelfrey was able to get the foul.
34-31, three-point ball game. Major Gear brings it up the floor. Keith Jennings still on the bench. He plays almost 35 minutes a game. Calvin Talford with the ball out front. And actually, East Tennessee's built its biggest lead of the game at 34-31 with Mister on the bench. Marty Story doesn't usually hit from out there. Kept it alive. NC State with a rebound.
They can play well with Mister on the bench and keep increasing the lead, though. That's a plus because he is going to need the rest for the night's over.
Thompson followed his shot up and in. 1 point East Tennessee State lead. Mr. Jennings will come back into the lineup. Gear open for three. No good. English offensive goaltending. Not a popular call, but I believe it was the right one.
I believe that was a good call. You're going to see right here the same thing. I don't think the ball leaves the rim. And Duke Edsel comes in with, I'll tell you, let's see. No, that ball, oh, it's pretty close, but I don't think it's off the rim. I think the officials got to make that call, Randy. And Duke Edsel had no doubts. He was very emphatic about the call, and he just wiped it off.
Well, he didn't really get an argument from Alan LaForce, so we'll call that one a good one. Bucks with a 1-point lead. Corciani down low. Back to Gugliotta. No good. Talford with the ball. Pelfrey should have shot the ball when he got it and open. He faked, and when he did, he traveled.
Little hesitation, and when you're a shooter like Pelfrey, you've got to be able to shoot that ball. Can't hesitate. You got to pop it right now.
Well, Pelfrey's going to come out. Alvin West will not hesitate when he shoots. And he's in the lineup now. East Tennessee, nobody over 6'4". English and Talford both at 6'4". That's as big as they get for the Buccaneers.
I tell you, if they're the top 20, if they're a top 20 team, they got to be the best team in America for their size.
Tapped out of bounds by Talford. Pass was intended for Gugliotta. Talford is just playing a great game on both ends of the floor.
Having an interesting little conversation with Gugliotta, too.
Inbounds it comes, NC State. Out of bounds. That's twice Bacali has done that. Stepped out of bounds right in front of us. Bucks get it back with a 1-point lead. 4:26 to go in the first half. And Gugliotta gets a rest for NC State. Rodney Monroe is back in the ball game now.
Got basically right now for North Carolina State a three-guard offense with Bacali in the game with Monroe and Chris Corciani.
Last year, these same two teams met in Raleigh-Durham. English will get 2 shots. The foul on Bacali of NC State. And East Tennessee won by 10 at NC State.
Don't think the people, as you're going to watch the play, good pass inside to English. He just really maneuvers to the bucket. The thing about East Tennessee State with 5 guys on the floor at 6'4", they give a lot of quickness to their opponents. But you know what? When East Tennessee State went into North Carolina last year and played at Raleigh and beat the Wolfpack, I'll tell you, that administration didn't forget that, because Les Robinson was a graduate at NC State. You know what? He really did want to go back home.
He played for the legendary Everett Case. Coached under Press Maravich also for a while at NC State. And now he's part of the legend that is Wolfpack basketball. No good. Corciani tapped it out of bounds. They'll give it to NC State. You know, Dean Smith has dominated college basketball for so many years, but NC State has won 2 NCAA titles to his 1 during that same period.
What's interesting also is Dean has 2 of his former players sitting on opposite benches here. Jeff Lebo for the Buccaneers, and of course Buzz Peterson is assistant coach at North Carolina State.
That was not a popular call, the foul on Calvin Talford. That's his second.
If they call that on Talford, I'm not so sure I wouldn't be hollering about that. If anybody fouled, it wasn't Talford.
3:56 to go in the first half. Bucks by 2. We'll be right back. East Tennessee State 35-33 with 3:56 to go in the first half. New attendance record for East Tennessee State, 12,240. That breaks the old record by about 12 or 1,300. It's quite a crowd. I think there's more people than that in here. Gugliotta forces himself to be open, and the rebound comes to Major Gear after the miss. Michael Woods in the ball game now for East Tennessee.
North Carolina State showing the zone, and Mr. Jennings, of course, still sitting on the bench. He probably might not be back in with the 2 fouls. He might not be back in until after the half.
2 on Jennings, 2 on Talford, 1 on West, 1 on Gear for East Tennessee, and really only a couple of fouls against NC State. They have 5. Michael Woods. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Rodney English stripped of the ball. Good job defensively by the Wolfpack.
Chris Corciani just got in the middle lane when the ball was in the opposite wing. There's a 3-2 defense, Randy. They're really giving the inside to East Tennessee State because they're covering up the perimeter.
Monroe short. Rebound Alvin West. East Tennessee with a 2-point lead. Now they're pulling out a little bit, putting some pressure on near the half-court stripe.
In both timeouts, the previous timeouts, every trip on a timeout, Les Robinson switches from zone to man or man to zone.
Gear is open. Swish at Major Gear with his 3rd three-pointer of the game.
But that was not an uncontested shot. He hit the shot that time with a man right up in his face.
Corciani answers for three. And it's a 2-point Buccaneer lead.
Well, Chris Corciani's another player you got to respect because he's hitting almost 50% from that three-point circle.
Some impressive stats for Mr. Jennings, who, by the way, is not in the game.
Nice pass.
Layup by Rodney English.
That's a good pass inside. You got to do that with them with the three-man front defensively. You got to score down low in the post.
Gugliotta drives the baseline, stepped out of bounds. Give it back to East Tennessee. We were talking about Keith Jennings hits 82% from the three-point line. That is unbelievable.
It is unbelievable, especially the other stats. You're going to see Gugliano and Bagali. They're going to have to find out where the lines are painted right here in Johnson City. That's pretty good defense. So Marty Story forced him to the block, and he was able to get the turnover.
East Tennessee, no call, and the layup by Marty Story gives the Buccaneers their biggest lead of the ball game. It's 6. Corciani. He's hammered and fouled by Alvin West. And Corciani a bit shaken up. West fouled him, but Marty Story got a piece of him too.
He took the ball right. So he's going to draw a lot of attention. Look here. 3 players, 6 arms, and Alvin West got the foul, but he draws a lot of attention on the penetration. Oh, actually, look at that. Marty Story comes in and pushes West into Corciani.
One thing about East Tennessee, they are aggressive. They're small, but they're quick, and they're aggressive.
Well, that's another point I want to make about Alan LaForce's coaching. The one thing that's changed for the Buccaneers is Alan LaForce has really brought some defensive intensity to the Buccaneer program. They were already good, Randy. They were a very solid team that Alan LaForce helped build, but he has brought to this program a real strong intensity on the defensive end.
Corciani hits a pair, and it's a 4-point ball game. East Tennessee ranked 20th in the country this week. They win here, they could move up a couple of spots. And they've been in the top 25 for, what, 3 weeks now.
They're a legitimate program, legitimate team. And you got to remember, watch them. They're doing most of this with 6'4" and under players.
Inside, Rodney English tapped away, stolen by NC State. Here's Rodney Monroe. Too hot to handle for Kevin Thompson from Rodney Monroe. The turnover gives it back to the Buccaneers.
That's a great pass. He's got to catch the ball. He's got to catch that one. Kevin Thompson, 6'9" sophomore from Winston-Salem, played with Bryant Fagans at the same high school, Glenn High School in Winston-Salem. How'd you like to have been coaching those two?
45 seconds left in the ball game. There's about an 11-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. So NC State will get another possession.
They're going to use clock, though. They're going to bring it down. They're going to ensure the fact that they're going to have the lead going into the half. You got to remember, too, the mister is still on the bench.
Rodney English buries a baseline jumper. 19 seconds. Monroe into the lane. The foul on Marty Story of East Tennessee State.
I love the way to see these teams are covering up the perimeter. You're going to see the reach in right there, but see the foul. Look at the players that come to the penetrating guard. Corciani drew 3 players, and now Monroe taking the ball to the hole draws 3 players again. That's the defensive philosophy of a coach like Alan LaForce.
Coming up at halftime, we'll have some stats, highlights of the first half of this tremendous basketball game. We'll also be talking with Jimmy Wilder from the Southern Conference. Monroe makes the first of 2. It's a 5-point game with 16 seconds left in the half.
You're looking into the eyes, Rodney Monroe, of a first-round draft pick, Randy. This kid can shoot, and he will not cease to play after he graduates at North Carolina State.
He makes both. 13 seconds, 4-point lead for East Tennessee. They are going to have the lead at halftime. Keith Jennings.
Nice pass.
To English. Missed it. Kept alive by Story. Rebound Corciani. His 50-footer is short. And at halftime, the Buccaneers of East Tennessee have a 4-point advantage over NC State's Wolfpack. Bucks by 4 at intermission. And we'll be back to Johnson City, Tennessee in just a moment.
Stop it and see us at Jim's Tri-City Appliance.
At Byberg, we've done the homework so you don't overpay for business insurance. In fact, you can save up to 20%, so you can put more resources toward running your business. Call or get a quote today at Byberg.com.
Enjoying tonight's telecast. I know 12,240 fans here in the new Memorial Center record are enjoying this basketball game as East Tennessee leads by 4, and we are ready to go with the second half.
Randy, that crowd includes everything, right? That includes football.
Right.
That's everything.
I believe it is.
That's unbelievable.
You don't get to play NC State every night. That's the thing.
Well, and we were talking before, this is not just a basketball game. This isn't an event.
Same starting 5 for East Tennessee, same 5 for NC State. Bench scoring in the first half. East Tennessee had 16 points off their bench. North Carolina State only 3, but 13, Ron, of those 16 points came from Rodney English.
Oh, hey, listen, he had a very good first half, but look at the graphic right here. There's what you're talking about, Randy. And Alvin West, who really is pretty good off the bench, hardly scored.
NC State loses the basketball out of bounds. They got the possession to start the half and could not capitalize on it. Bryant Feggins dropped it out of bounds. Bucks up the floor. Talford, and a blocking foul against Feggins on the other end. Talford picks up the foul.
It's a pretty good drive to the baseline. I thought the defensive man, all he had to do is take one more step, and there's no way that's a block. If he steps there, Calvin Talford is really history because he has no place to go but right into the defensive man.
Marty Story will inbound. Jennings faking, shooting. Yes.
Mr. Jennings, the recipient of a double pick right in the middle of the lane. You talk about the score, but what you didn't see perhaps was a great pick by 2 of his Buccaneer teammates.
Mr. Jennings hits about, there's a shot from the corner by none other than Rodney Moreau has 10. Mr. Jennings hits 91% from the foul line, 63% from the floor, 82% from the three-point line.
I'm not his agent, Randy, but I'm telling you, he is the most underrated point guard in the country.
Talford rips from outside, almost a 3. It's a 2 for Talford, giving him 17. Corciani to Feggins, blocked by Darrell Jones, and NC State gets it back.
Darrell Jones, he said, hey, listen, talk about Gaffney, South Carolina. You know, the only thing they're famous for, but look at Darrell. He comes in from the rear, and he's going to block this shot. You know what? Gaffney, South Carolina, the only thing they're famous for is the big peach on 85.
Monroe, swish, a 3 for Rodney Monroe. And it's a 3-point Buccaneer lead. Monroe has all 5 NC State points this half. That gives him 13 for the ball game.
And I thought that they did a pretty good job. The Buccaneers did a good job defensively against Rodney Monroe. He had 8 points in the first half, but they were silent points.
Don't forget, coming up late in the ball game, we'll be telling you who the Shoney's East Tennessee player of the game is. Talford with a nice move to the bucket. He weaved around about 3 people and got the layup.
He drew a lot of company, but I'll tell you, he is having himself quite a game against his old coach. Shouldn't say old coach, maybe former coach, better way.
Les wouldn't appreciate it, neither would his wife Barbara. Go down low, shot by Thompson, no good, but the foul first on East Tennessee.
Well, we talk a lot. How can you not talk a lot about Les Robinson? But, you know, Randy, I really think that the man who followed him up, look at the pass inside. Good defense on the weak side, but Darrell Jones too close to his man. He doesn't have the angle. He can't challenge the pass. But Alan LaForce was the great choice of East Tennessee State to get this head coaching job. He really proved himself at College of Charleston down in South Carolina, NAI school, and really did a super job helping Les Robinson build this program in Johnson City.
Thompson misses the first free throw. 6'9", 250 pounds, a sophomore. Crowd gets on him a little bit down on the other end. He got that one. And
Excuse me, Randy. The reason I make that point about Allen is because when he came in here, a lot of times people can take great talent and mess it up, but he kept the continuity going in the winning program.
Major Gear in trouble, gets it to Jennings, 17:36 to go. Marty Story with it now. Talford, jumper, off the glass. Everything he does is right tonight.
They don't have anybody can guard him. I'm a little surprised they're not going to that 3-2 zone.
Corciani answers for NC State, and it's a 4-point game again. Jennings drops it to Gear in the corner. 17:08 to go. This is Darrell Jones from outside.
Christmas, Merry Christmas, Darrell Jones. When he hits that thing out there, anything he does outside 15 foot is a gift.
Gugliotta muscles it up over Story and missed it. Story with a rebound. Bucks can take their biggest lead of the game if they connect here.
They're not going to guard Darrell out there, but if he can score like, look at here.
Got to have a timeout. Les Robinson sees his team down by 9. Major Gear with his 4th three-pointer of the ball game. Listen to this crowd. NC State has got to do something to take this 12,000 plus crowd out of the ball game. And what do? You give it to Rodney Monroe, and he will be fouled before the shot.
I really believe that North Carolina State on the opposite end, they need to come back to that 3-2 zone because I don't think they're quick enough to guard a Calvin Talford, and really the quickness factor and also the fatigue because North Carolina State does not have the people coming off the bench like the Buccaneers.
We had a good shot at Les Robinson a moment ago. You know, his first year at East Tennessee, they weren't even eligible for the tournament. They were on probation, an awful team.
As a matter of fact, Les helped us do the television job.
He did color with me on a couple of basketball games in the tournament. He said, Monroe hits the jumper for NC State. He said, you know, I should have done that. I should have gone into that business. I said, I get him about it now. I said, no, look where you are now.
Really?
I said, no, you did the right thing, Les. Mr. Jennings, bang, a three-pointer, Mr. Jennings. 10-point lead, East Tennessee State. Corciani goes down low to Monroe, who answers the jumper for NC State. It's an 8-point game, 15:28 to go. Marty Story on the baseline. Buccaneers are red hot. Off the hands of Darrell Jones, out of bounds from Keith Jennings. And we're going to take a timeout. Time on the floor, Bucks by 8, and we'll be back in just a moment.
If you're still browsing sam.gov for government contract listings and writing manual proposals, listen up. There's a better way to find.
Is what these perimeter teams live and die on, and East Tennessee is living on it right now.
Well, there's the man that really heated up against Cincinnati, and you know they had, as you're going to see, the ball rotated very well by East Tennessee State. They're doing a good job, but again, Mr. Jennings nails the three. Against Cincinnati in the second half, they were 12 for 24 from the three-point circle.
8-point lead for East Tennessee, 15:06 to go, still a lot of time. Corciani spinning away. What a move by Chris Corciani.
Really good move by Chris. Not a whole lot of help on the defense. The defensive post players were playing too close to their men to see and give the help.
Marty Story gives way to Rodney English, who's in the game now. Keith Jennings carries it up, no good. Gugliotta the rebound. Corciani spinning away again. This time the ball stolen by Mr. Jennings. Gear. Gugliotta the rebound. Corciani gets it. Out of bounds, off the hands of Major Gear as the play gets a little sloppy on that end of the floor.
Gets that up-tempo transition game they're making. They're trying to pick it up where it's left off in the first 5 minutes, and that is a track meet. Good pass inside, and look at the defense right there. Is almost saved by Major Gear.
Beggins misses. Marty Story took the rebound away from Rodney Monroe. There's the lob, the foul by Bacali. Talford had almost another slam, but Bacali fouled him, and Calvin gets 2 shots.
North Carolina State does a good job right here of getting back because they know Les Robinson told them, you see Calvin Talbert streaking down in transition, it's going to be a dunk. Bacali did a good job not letting him get the slam.
There's a good shot of Jeff Lebo, we were talking about, former North Carolina star. On the other end, Buzz Peterson.
They were talking about, hey, after the game, I want you one-on-one. After this game, one-on-one. A little bit of one-on-one basketball after everybody leaves. Who would you bet on in that little matchup?
I'd take Buzz.
I'll take Jeff Lebo. You can tell Buzz I said that.
Talford makes a pair. 8-point lead for the Bucks again. There you see the three-point shooting. Bucks 6 of 11. NC State's Rodney Monroe buries a shot from the corner.
But they're looking for Monroe down underneath.
Monroe tapped it out of the hands. Good defensive play, as that took away a sure 2 points from Calvin Talford.
They're getting back into transition. What North Carolina State is trying to do with the 2-on-2 out front, Gugliano and Chris Corciani, and you got a low post double stack screen for Rodney Monroe, and he's responding in the second half.
Alvin West drops it to Jennings.
Nice pass.
Rodney English, what a shot! English at 6'4", over Gugliano at 6'9".
It's called quickness. It's called quickness. He beat him to the spot, and he was able to get his shot off very quickly.
13:27 to go. Corciani drops it to Monroe. He's got the hot hand, and there's the foul. It's on Mister, and that's his 3rd personal foul. Or will it be on Talford?
Better hope it's on Talford.
It's on Jennings. Jennings with his 3rd. Talford has 2.
Jennings actually gets the foul on a reach-in, trying to help his teammate Calvin Talford. You got to respect a player like Rodney Monroe, though. If you don't guard him, if you don't have 2 players coming at him, he's going to score off the J.
What's impressive about him is when he made the jumper a moment ago, he was down the floor quickly to break up the pass from Talford to Talford. Talford picks up his 3rd as he fouls Rodney Monroe, and Monroe gets 2.
But now you're going to begin to see some players with Talford and Jennings with 3 fouls each. But I really think, as you're going to see right here, that's a little bump, and Talford does get the foul. Randy, I think the difference in this game is going to come down to the benches because as you see Alan LaForce pacing, talking to his people, he has the numbers to rest his players, and he can bring in quality people. You got to remember that the leading scorer at the half for East Tennessee State was Rodney English off the bench.
English is in there. Talford sits down with his 3rd foul, but Jennings is still in there with 3. Monroe, a 71% foul shooter, ripped. He hits the first, he'll get another, and it's a 7-point Buccaneer lead. Their biggest lead has been 10. Monroe misses this one. Rebound clear to Rodney English.
Boy, doesn't Rodney English play a lot taller than his size? Can really jump. Gets off the floor quickly.
Mr. Jennings, a 3. The lead is again 10.
I like it. 2 of the best point guards in the country. Head-to-head right here in Johnson City.
Corciani.
Oh, no.
They called the foul on Mr. Jennings, and I'm not sure it wasn't English or West that fouled him.
I'm not sure it's a foul at all, but it's going to be on Mr. Jennings, but I don't see this foul right here. Look at the reach in.
Yep.
I'll tell you, Randy, the old Axum hands part of the ball. I'm not so sure that was, and it's a very unpopular call here in East Tennessee State. really changes the complexion of the game.
Jennings, who has buried two three-pointers this half, picks up his 4th foul, and he will go to the bench. Now, when he was on the bench for 3 or 4 minutes in the first half, East Tennessee actually extended its lead over NC State. But over the next 12:34, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Well, you're going to see the ball in the hands of Rodney Monroe, and so really it's going to be a tough situation for East Tennessee State with their leader on the bench for at least 7, perhaps 8 minutes.
Corciani got the roll, hitting the first, he'll get another. Alan LaForce is still jawing at the official. Corciani makes a pair. It's an 8-point game with 12:34 to go, and Kevin Thompson checks back in for NC State. Major Gear is in the lineup now, replacing Keith Jennings. Bucks with the ball. Pelfrey in there now. A steal by Corciani. Corciani drives the baseline to Feggins, who got the layup. 6-point game. LaForce may have to put Jennings in the ball game and let him play with 4. Stolen again by Corciani. 2 trips, 2 steals by Corciani. Feggins, no good. Marty Story with a rebound.
Well, again, we talk so much about Chris Corciani's ability to get the ball to his scorers. Not a whole lot is said about his defense. He's also an excellent defensive player.
Alvin West has yet to score for East Tennessee. That's a big factor. They need him here. Story's open. Missed it. Feggins with a rebound. East Tennessee has not scored in its last 3 possessions. Monroe, swish! A 3 for Rodney Monroe, and it's a 3-point Buccaneer lead. Monroe lighting it up.
You see on that shot, he could play in the NBA because that was behind every circle that you play with in the world.
Alvin West, short. Tip, look at English with a follow. Rodney English kept it alive and then got the rebound. Corciani out front. 5-point game, 10:51 to go.
Watch Rodney Monroe.
Corciani's open. Somebody got lost defensively for East Tennessee.
Well, it's precipitated by the pick out front. It's a little 2-on-2 game out front with Rodney Monroe coming behind a double low pick at the post.
3-point game again. Pelfrey looks for English, spinning away. Jumper, good.
They're having trouble. North Carolina State's having a lot of trouble with English.
Corciani misses the 3, and who gets the rebound? Rodney English.
Going for it.
Bang! A 3-pointer by Alvin West. 10 minutes to go. Monroe answers and quiets this 12,000-plus crowd. What a player.
It's a little 2-on-2 out front with Gugliano and the post player setting picks for Corciani, and Monroe freed up to play one-on-one basketball.
Alvin West drops it to Marty Story. Pelfrey stops and guns it in. Corciani to Monroe. Short. Gear with a rebound. Alvin West tried to go to English, and Monroe picks up the personal foul for NC State.
No way, absolutely no way Rodney Monroe can guard English down on the block. There'll be some kids sleeping very tightly after this game tonight.
Timeout, East Tennessee State. 4:07 to go. Mr. Jennings on the bench with 4, but the Bucks still lead by 8. Johnny, with Jennings on the bench, definitely the best point guard in the game right now.
Well, no doubt about it. Great anticipation in defense, and he played for his father, Gabe, down at Hialeah Miami Lakes in Miami, Florida. Good pass, but the steal is a big thing. And look right here, here's another good assist to the in the middle of the paint to a teammate, and he gets the assist there. He can score, he can play defense, he gets the assist. Very complete player.
Bucks with the ball in the lane. Rodney English, 8-point East Tennessee lead. McCauley knocked it away. Gear, short. Touched last by NC State. McCauley really knew he couldn't save it, so he was just gambling there that the official thought he would be right, but not so. They were right on top of it.
That's good, Randy, because he just said, it's the old give up. I can't get it, so I'm going to act like it's our ball.
Yeah.
Referees didn't buy it.
Rodney English will inbound now with 8:47 to go in the contest. Long about the 4-minute mark, or 5-minute mark, we'll see Mr. Jennings, I would assume. Trezell Silvers shot an air ball and a rebound to Gugliotta. Porciani. Monroe open three, swish. Rodney Monroe in transition gets that ball up quickly.
But again, great recognition by Chris Corciani. He finds him all the way across court. He knows who his money player is.
Alvin West with the ball for East Tennessee. Bucks by 5. Silvers in the game. Nice move by the freshman. He missed the shot. Gear got the ball. They reset it. Talford misses the 3. Gugliotta with the ball. Great pass up to Feggins. Monroe is there. Yeah.
They've done a great job. Absolutely awesome finding Monroe in transition. They look for him. They want him. They get him the ball. He strokes it.
Timeout Buccaneers. 7:43 to go. And just like that, it's a 2-point ball game. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Why go around?
North Carolina State's Rodney Monroe has 29 points in the ball game, 21 of those coming in the second half.
And a lot of it, Alan DeForest is talking Jeff Lebo there. They got to make a decision. I think you'll see Mr. Jennings check in at the first dead ball.
West puts up a 3 and nails it.
Talk about big buckets. I know the cliche, that was a big one. Alan DeForest needed that one because, you know, they've been giving up some points in transition.
Alvin West has come up with 2 big 3-pointers in the last 5 or 6 minutes. Porciani with an NBA 3, and he nails it. That was about 3 feet beyond the college line.
Really interesting to see how much Chris Porciani has turned into a scorer this season.
Gear tried to feed Pelfrey. Here's Porciani with an uncontested layup. And we are tied for the first time since early in the first half.
And the mister makes his appearance at the scorer's table.
Well, you got to put him back in. Talford's jumper off the glass and in. Buccaneers back out by 2.
And you'll notice the Buccaneers be picked up by the fact that Keith Jennings will come back onto the floor. They need him. He is the general for the Buccaneers.
Here's Rodney Monroe for 3 again. He missed it. Gugliotta shoving off. And he knew it.
And also Calvin Talford knew it. He was very, very happy. Going to see a good shot. Rodney Monroe well behind the 3-point circle. It doesn't get down. Boy, close.
Gugliotta picks up the personal foul. It's his second, and Keith Jennings is in the game for East Tennessee. Jennings, what a shot, Keith Jennings.
Key player, Chris Corciani's got to do a better job. Don't let Mr. Jennings penetrate. He's very dangerous that way. You can't go for the steal in a very close game like this. You have got to make sure you play straight up defense.
Jennings against Corciani. Corciani hit, misses the jumper, but Thompson gets the follow. Pelfrey hit the deck. 2-point lead. East Tennessee.
Going to see Chris Corciani trying to draw that 5th foul. He's going to do a lot of one-on-one against Mr. Jennings the last 5 minutes of the game.
Talford inside, and the foul against North Carolina State's Kevin Thompson.
Well, I'm telling you, he's quick. He takes it to the hole. He challenges the big people with a lot of confidence. Calvin Talford, All-State in 4 sports. Watch this. He's going to take it. He's going to adjust his shot. He's very close to getting it down.
Here's another angle.
Just does a good job penetrating between 2 players and taking on the big man, Thompson, inside the lane.
Talford with 2 shots coming up. His team up by 2. He got it.
I told Calvin Talford last year, I want your autograph before you graduate and get away from here, because I never met any kid who was All-State in 4 sports.
4-point game. Talford nails a couple of free throws, and East Tennessee's in a zone.
That's a pretty good move right there. They need to cover up. Be aware of where Monroe is.
Field goal shooting. Each team is at 31. East Tennessee has attempted 5 fewer. Monroe missing. Talford in the rafters for the rebound. Keith Jennings directs the offense. West, swish. Corciani, bang! A 3-pointer, Chris Corciani. 4-point game.
Got to be very cautious in the zone. Know where the 2 players are. It's a 1-3-1. They should be able to cover. They got to be concerned about Corciani and Monroe.
Keith Jennings between the circles. Works it on the right to Rodney English. A 3. It's short. Kept alive by Story, and finally Rodney Monroe gets the rebound. 4-point game. NC State up the floor. 4:12 to go. There's the lob. Meggins couldn't control it. Story took it away. West for 3. Short. English missed the dunk, but the foul is against NC State's Bryant Meggins, and English gets 2.
Really sure who did it, but someone ought to be credited with that rebound that kept it alive. English, we're going to see right here. We can see who keeps this ball alive. Right there. Calvin Talford said, give me an assist if you hit these free throws.
To the free throw line goes Rodney English, who hits just under 70%.
Don't think that was just an accident either. I saw Calvin Talford pointing at Rodney English. He knew he tapped that ball to him. That was a great rebound.
88-84. English, too hard. English will get another. His team up by 4. A little bit better touch on that one. 1 out of 2 for Rodney English. Under 4 minutes left. Buccaneers maintain a 5-point lead, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Why do so many people go to Hardee's for breakfast?
Let's look at East Tennessee work. Alvin West with a couple of big 3-pointers off the bench in this half.
Well, in the first half, it was Rodney English. Second half, Alvin West. He's picked up, Randy, where he left off against Cincinnati. I keep alluding to that. But also in the Cincinnati game, East Tennessee State was very successful. Look at Corciani answer on the other end. All net. Against Cincinnati, the Buccaneers employed a very good zone defense and come out now in a man-to-man against the Wolfpack.
27 points for Talford, his career high, 29 for East Tennessee. He's had quite a game against his former coach, Les Robinson. Corciani drops it to Gugliotta, 15-footer, short. kept alive, saved by Monroe.
See, West is on Monroe, and you also see Talford on Corciani as he fouls right there. That's Talford's fourth, but they did not want to put Mr. Jennings on Corciani because of his fourth foul. Oh, that's a foul. That's a good call by the official. Crowd didn't like it, but hey, that's got to be a foul.
Only team foul number 6, so NC State gets the ball underneath. And that is 4 on Talford. Jennings and Talford both in the game with 4. Jumper by Monroe, missed it. Saved by Mr. Jennings.
Should see some clock right here. Should take some time off the clock unless they get a great shot, and I'm talking about a layup or a good jumper.
A lot of candidates for our Shoney's East Tennessee Player of the Game. We'll have that for you after the game. Here's West. In and out. Story. Hammered. He'll go to the line with 2.
Speaking of Story, you want a story in the second half? The story in the second half that's impressive to me is East Tennessee State has done an excellent job of neutralizing North Carolina State on the boards. Look at them. They're working on the offensive glass. In the second half, the rebounding really has been very even because East Tennessee State is limited to Wolfpack to only 1 shot each trip down.
Marty Story at the line with 2 shots. Missed the first. Tonight's telecast has been granted through rights released by East Tennessee State University. And your announcers for tonight's game have been chosen by East Tennessee State. Once again, we'll have that Shoney's Player of the Game for you coming up before the end of the contest tonight. Marty Story missed 2. And a foul on the rebound against North Carolina State. Gugliotta shoving off, and we'll go back and shoot again.
We're going to see right here, Gugliano's in the lane. Oh, that's a good call, but it wasn't Gugliano that pushed off. That was Kevin Thompson that got the foul.
And they have corrected and given it to Thompson, his 4th. English missed the free throw. 3 straight misses by East Tennessee. That has to hurt. Corciani with 2:47 to go. Gugliotta for 3. Yeah, he hit it. And it's a 2-point ball game. NC State has asked for and gets a timeout. 2:42 left. We'll be back with a final 2:42 right after this.
Remember life before.
2-point advantage East Tennessee following the 3-pointer by Tom Gugliotta of NC State. 2:42 left in the contest. There's part of this record crowd to see an event. And an event it has been. Pelfrey inbounds to Mr. Jennings. Pelfrey, West, English, Talford, and Jennings for East Tennessee. Corciani, Monroe, Gugliotta, Thompson, and Fagans. The starting 5 for NC State.
Motion offense, taking a little time off the clock. You're going to see them use as much time as they can to maintain the lead.
English pulls it out of there. East Tennessee State protecting a 2-point lead. Jennings all the way, missed the shot. Fagans got the rebound. NC State looking to tie or take the lead. They have not led this half. They've been tied once.
Little one-on-one out front. A 2-on-2 game played with Thompson and Corciani.
Corciani inside, got the layup, and we're tied at 89.
Pelfrey needed to come across. He needed to come across and challenge that shot, at least put him on the free throw line. Don't let him shoot an uncontested layup.
89-89. A minute 38 to go.
Little mind game now. Of course, Wolfpack sitting back, just relaxing because they know that East Tennessee State's got to shoot it for 45.
Talford, bang, a 3. Calvin Talford. A new career high for Talford. He's got 30.
the Wolfpack got too relaxed on that possession. That's a big bucket for Calvin.
Forgiani, air ball, out of bounds. East Tennessee gets it back with 63 seconds, and NC State wants timeout.
Due to excess inventory, GMC Truck is holding a model closeout. This is a limited.
There's really much discussion about who the player of the game is tonight.
That's created by Mr. Jennings. He kicks it out. Gugliano gives him 5 inches, you know, but the point is they were playing a little soft because of the penetration of Mr. Jennings.
So Calvin Talford is the Shoney's East Tennessee State player of the game. And what a game he's had, a new career high, 30 points for Calvin Talford. Tremendous athlete. And the game's not over.
Not as long as you've got Rodney Monroe, Chris Corciani, Gugliano on the floor.
East Tennessee's bench has outscored NC State's 30-3 in this basketball game. Bucks by 3. They've got the ball. They're not slowing it down for one moment. Keith Jennings into the front court. They will be selective, however, on their shot. 35 on the shot clock. If East Tennessee milks the shot clock, there will still be about 16 seconds left when NC State gets it back. They're down 3.
There'll be a milking job on this clock. The only thing they're going to shoot before the 45 seconds is the layup.
And there's a near steal. Corciani dives for the ball. East Tennessee gets it back.
And they don't have to shoot the ball now, Randy.
There was 12 seconds on the shot clock.
It's really a good trap. The referee kept it from going out of bounds to start with, and Corciani, the general who dives on the floor trying to save it, might be the game.
East Tennessee has called time with 29 seconds to go. Now there's 12 seconds still on the shot clock, but do you reset it? I don't believe you do.
Evidently you must not, because they would have already done it. I suppose they're saying there was no possession there. East Tennessee State didn't really lose possession of the ball. They slapped away, and it never was under control of North Carolina State.
So they still have 12 seconds to go on the shot clock, but there's 29 seconds to go in the game.
So they're going to have to shoot it, but the point is that no matter what happens, North Carolina State has got to shoot a 3 just to tie the game.
92-89 your score. As you get a look at some of this tremendous crowd, the Buccaneers picked to win the Southern Conference Championship for the 3rd year in a row. NC State was picked 7th in the ACC. I believe they're a better ball club than that.
Well, listen, I can't see. I was just thinking about that just a few minutes ago. If this team is the 7th best team in that conference, that's going to be a great race for that conference this year. They're a fine ball club. And, of course, anytime you got a Corciani who's playing great, then you got Rodney Monroe on the floor, and with Gugliano, they're an awesome basketball team. They're never out of any game.
3-point Buck lead. They have 12 seconds to get it down the floor to score.
North Carolina State did not want to foul right there, because if they do, it's over. Look at this.
The miss. English missed the jam with 18 seconds. NC State down 3. Look for Monroe or Corciani. Monroe falls, and he walked. He slipped and fell. Walked with the ball, and with 10 seconds to go, East Tennessee gets it back.
Now East Tennessee State has got the foul. When the player went down, that's an automatic travel. Rodney Monroe just slips before he catches the ball. Now North Carolina State has got the foul as soon as the Buccaneers touch the ball.
Well, there's some moisture out on the floor. East Tennessee State, I think, has called timeout. I believe they did. They have 10 seconds left, so NC State is going to have to foul right away.
I don't know if there's a timeout, if they're just taking care of that slick place. Now they're going to make them come out on the floor and play. But again, North Carolina State has got a foul as soon as the ball's touched inbounds. It's the only help they got.
Well, if you foul anybody, you don't.
Corciani really smothering Mr. Jennings because they know if he touches the ball, it's an automatic 1-and-1.
Inbounds, West fouled immediately by Rodney Monroe, and Alvin West, who hit 71.4%, will go to the line with a big 1-and-1.
Chris Corciani really smothered Mr. Jennings because North Carolina State knows that if the mister touches the ball inbounds, he goes to the free throw line. It's automatic. He's hitting over 90% from the free throw circle for the year.
All West has to do really is hit the first one, and it's over. 9 seconds left.
There's no way they would have to, if he were to hit the first one, they've got to score 2 possessions, and that means that they're going to score very quickly in transition and then steal or foul quickly. Is no way. He's got to hit the first free throw.
Alan LaForce has pulled his team away from the free throw line. Alvin West, a big one. Got it! 4-point lead, East Tennessee. And now the Buccaneers have called timeout.
Randy, they're calling timeout right there just to assert the fact that there's no way they can lose the ball game now. They don't want to foul. They don't want to foul at all, really, because North Carolina State, even if they score, probably they're going to just let the ball roll out of bounds because I don't think North Carolina State has any timeouts left. They can't stop the clock.
9 ticks of the clock left in this one. Coming into the ball game, North Carolina State was a 4-point favorite here in Johnson City over the number 20 basketball team of the country. You figure that one out.
Well, I'll tell you, who put that point spread on, really, they must have been in Argentina last summer or something, because this is a very fine Buccaneer team that's still fighting for a respected country. The only people who really respect them are the people that really count, and that's the people who vote on the top 20.
Top 20. They've been in it for about 3 weeks. Top 25, really, they're up to the number 20 spot in one poll.
I want to make another point, though. I think it's really a credit to Alan LaForce, because I've seen a lot of coaches switching jobs, inherit good program with good people, and really mess it up. He has kept this continuity going for this winning program at East Tennessee State.
Well, Les Robinson did a great job, but here again, you have to give Alan LaForce credit, even not only coaching this team, but helping him bring in this kind of talent to Johnson City.
I'll guarantee you, if whatever happens right now, the best thing to happen would be for him to miss this shot and let the clock start, because I'll tell you, there's not going to be a whole lot of defense played on the other end.
5-point Buck lead. Here comes Corciani. Dogged by Jennings. Here's a 3 by Fagans. Good, he hit it. They give him 2. They say the foot was inside the line, and with 1 second on the clock. No, they say 2. Duke Etzel says 2.
That's a good call, because if we could see a replay, his foot was on the line, then he backed it up, but he only got to 2. But the big point, I guess, the fact that I was wrong, North Carolina State did have 1 timeout left, and they stopped it. But now all East Tennessee State has to do is touch the ball inbound.
They put 3 up on the scoreboard. Now they change it, so it's a 3-point game with 1 second to go.
Here's a big point, though, Randy. You've got to be concerned about, they have got to get the ball inbounds. And I'm sure that that's the thing that Alan LaForce is concerned about right now. We've got to get the ball inbounds. You might see someone hit the deck right here for North Carolina State. They're going to try to probably draw a charge with no time moving.
The Bucks have only 16 fouls, so the next one would be the 7th and would put NC State in position. English inbounds. The game is over. East Tennessee State has beaten North Carolina State 94-91. And Les Robinson's homecoming to Johnson City. And we'll be back. All right, we will keep it here. 94-91 the score. 30 points from Calvin Talbert. That's the story. A tremendous night for basketball.
It was also a great game, especially for the people who came in the game for East Tennessee State off the bench. They've made a fine contribution.
Big win for the Buccaneers. They're 9-1 going into the new year. The number 20 team in the country. Thank you, Ron Bishop, for his color and comments tonight from Johnson City, Tennessee. A record crowd on hand at Memorial Center. Watch the Buccaneers beat NC State 94-91. So long, everybody.
This ETSU basketball